The stranger's hand was warm against my wrist when I opened my eyes in the hospital bed. And my first thought, before the pain, before the terror of not knowing how I got here, was that I shouldn't want him to let go. Nora. His voice was low, controlled. Don't try to move yet. I blinked against the fluorescent lights. My head throbbed. My ribs screamed. The beeping of monitors seemed too loud, too close. Who? My throat felt like sandpaper. He reached for the water cup on the bedside table without breaking eye contact, guided the straw to my lips with a gentleness that felt rehearsed. Easy. Small sips. I drank, studying him over the rim of the cup. Dark hair, expensive suit, a face that could have been carved from marble, beautiful in a way that made you forget to breathe. But it was his eyes that held me. Dark, intense, focused on me like I was the only thing in the world that mattered. Like he was cataloging every breath I took. I started, then stopped, because the worst truth was forming in my mind, heavy and cold. I don't know you. Something flickered across his face. Not surprise. Something more carefully managed than that. You were in an accident, he said. A car crash, 4 days ago. Do you remember any of it? 4 days. The words landed like stones in my chest. No. I searched for the memory and found nothing. Just a blank space where almost a week of my life should have been. I don't remember. Panic spiked through me. 4 days? I've been here for 4 days? You were unconscious. The doctors kept you sedated to help with the swelling. His hand tightened on my wrist, not painfully, but firm, grounding. You're awake now. That's what matters. Who are you? He paused, and I watched something shift in his expression, a decision being made, or perhaps a decision already made days ago, now being executed. My name is Leon Romano. His thumb brushed against my pulse point. I'm your fiancé. The world tilted. That's not possible. But even as I said it, I was searching his face for something familiar, some buried recognition. I would remember. The doctors said you might have some memory loss, retrograde amnesia from the impact. His voice was calm, practiced, like he'd had 4 days to rehearse this moment. What's the last thing you do remember? I tried to think past the fog. There was a bookstore. I work at a bookstore, in Brooklyn. The details felt solid, real. My mother, Isabel, she has a heart condition. Your mother is fine. She's been here every day. She just stepped out for coffee, actually. I can call her back if you want. Every day, for 4 days, while I was unconscious. Yes. The word came out too desperate. Please? He pulled out his phone, sleek, expensive, and typed something. The whole time, he kept his other hand on my wrist, like he was afraid I'd disappear or run. Leon Romano. Repeated, testing the name. It meant nothing to me. And you're saying we're engaged? For 6 months now. 6 months. I stared at him, at this stranger with winter eyes and a voice like smoke. I don't remember proposing. I don't remember dating. I don't remember you at all. I know. Something almost like pain crossed his face. Almost. Your neurologist explained it to me, to us. Your mother and I have been meeting with him daily. The recent memories are the most vulnerable after this kind of trauma. They might come back gradually, or they might not. The panic was building again, hot and sharp in my chest. This isn't, I would remember someone I loved enough to marry. What do you remember about last week? He interrupted gently. Last week. I reached for it and found only fog. Nothing. God, nothing. The bookstore. Do you remember working there recently? I grabbed onto that. Yes, I manage it. There's story time on Thursdays, and my boss, Mr. Castellano, he's been talking about retiring, maybe selling. The details felt real, solid. But when I tried to attach them to specific days, specific moments, everything blurred. When was the last time I worked? The day of the accident. You closed up alone, like always. His jaw tightened. I'd asked you not to do that anymore. Why? Because Brooklyn isn't as safe as you think it is, and you're too trusting. Something about his tone made my skin prickle. Not concern. Something colder than that. More possessive. What happened? I asked. In the accident. You said 4 days ago. Tell me what happened. The door opened before he could answer, and a woman rushed in. Small, pale, with graying hair and my eyes. My mother. I knew her instantly, relief flooding through me. Nora. Oh, thank God. She was at my bedside, taking my other hand, and I saw the exhaustion in her face. 4 days of fear carved into new lines around her mouth. Leon texted me you were awake. I came as fast as I could. Mom. My own tears started. Mom, I don't remember. He says we're engaged, but I don't remember anything. She glanced at Leon, something unreadable passing between them, something that looked almost like a warning. Then she squeezed my hand, her grip trembling. It's okay, sweetheart. It's going to be okay. You know him? I searched her face. This is real? We're really? Yes. Her voice was firm, but I caught something underneath. Fear, maybe, or exhaustion. Leon is your fiancé. He's been wonderful through all of this. He saved you, Nora. I looked between them. My mother, who I trusted more than anyone, and this stranger who watched me like I was something precious and breakable, and his. Saved me how? Leon's expression went carefully blank. The other car forced you off the road, tried to run you into a barrier. I was driving behind you, saw what was happening. I managed to get between you and them, forced them off instead. He paused. Your car still crashed. I got you out before the fire started. Fire? My voice came out small. The engine caught. It was close, Nora. Too close. His hand tightened on my wrist. If I'd been 30 seconds slower. But you weren't. My mother's voice was too bright, too shaky. He saved you, got you to the hospital, called me from the ambulance. She looked at Leon with something like gratitude, or terror. He hasn't left your side. 4 days, I said slowly. You've been here for 4 days? I left once, Leon said. To get your mother some things from her apartment, clothes, medications. Otherwise, yes. I tried to picture it. This stranger sitting by my hospital bed for 4 days, talking to doctors, coordinating with my mother, establishing himself as my fiancé so thoroughly that no one questioned it. Why were you following me? The question came out sharper than I intended. Another pause. This one, longer. We'd had an argument that morning, he said finally. About you closing the shop alone. You'd hung up on me and I was worried. So I drove to the bookstore to apologize in person. I saw you lock up, get in your car. And then I saw the other vehicle start tracking you. The story was smooth. Too smooth. Like he'd spent 4 days polishing it. What did the other car look like? Black SUV, no plates. Did you tell the police? Of course. His voice was steel wrapped in silk. They're investigating. By the time they got to the scene, the SUV was gone, he added. I gave them the description, what little there was. Professionals like that don't leave much behind. A nurse came in then, cheerful and efficient, checking my vitals and asking me basic questions. Name, date, where I lived. I could answer most of them. But when she asked about the last month, about my relationship status, I had nothing. The good news is, all your scans look good, she said. No bleeding, no permanent damage. The amnesia is common with this type of concussion. Dr. Mehta will be by in an hour to do a full assessment. She smiled at Leon. Your fiancé has been very patient. We usually don't allow overnight visitors, but he was quite insistent. Administration signed off on an exception, given the circumstances. Mr. Romano handled all your admission paperwork and consents when you came in. He's been our point of contact. I wasn't leaving her, Leon said simply. The nurse's smile turned knowing, romantic. Like this was a love story instead of whatever it actually was. After she left, my mother stood. I should let you rest, and I need to check in at home, make sure everything's okay. The bookstore, I started. Mr. Castellano has been managing. Leon called him the night of the accident. She kissed my forehead, and I felt her hands shaking. Don't worry about any of that right now. Just focus on getting better. She leaned toward Leon on her way out and whispered something too quiet for me to hear. But the way his jaw flexed told me it wasn't nothing. Then the door clicked shut, and I was alone with the man who claimed to own my heart. I studied him in the new silence, the expensive suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent, the watch that gleamed silver at his wrist, the way he sat, perfectly still, perfectly controlled, like a predator pretending to be tame. 4 days, I thought. He's had 4 days to build this. What restaurant? I asked suddenly. He blinked. What? That morning, when we argued. You said we'd fought about me closing the shop alone. Were we supposed to have dinner plans that night? A pause. Barely a heartbeat, but I caught it. No, he said. The argument was just an ongoing disagreement we'd been having. About my safety. Yes, because Brooklyn is dangerous. Because you're important to me. His eyes held mine. And I don't take risks with things that matter. Things, not people. Things. Tell me about us, I said. How we met. When you proposed. Our first date. Nora. If I can't remember, you need to tell me. I pulled my wrist from his grip, immediately missing the warmth, hating that I missed it. Please. He leaned back in the chair, and for a moment I saw something flicker in his eyes. Calculation, maybe. Or regret. We met at your bookstore, he began. I came in looking for a gift for a colleague. You recommended 3 books in 5 minutes, and all of them were perfect. A small smile touched his mouth. I came back the next week, and the week after that. Finally worked up the nerve to ask you to coffee. It sounded plausible, romantic even. But something about the way he said it, too careful, too measured, made my skin prickle. And I said yes. Eventually, that smile again. You made me work for it. When did you propose? 3 months ago, on the High Line at sunset. I had a whole speech planned, but when the moment came, I forgot every word. What did you say instead? His eyes held mine. I said, I don't want to spend another day pretending I can live without you. My breath caught. Because whoever this man was, whatever he was lying about, and I was suddenly, viscerally certain he was lying about something. He'd just told me a truth. He wanted me. That much was real. And God help me, some dark, buried part of me wanted him back. I need to rest, I whispered. He stood immediately. I'll be right outside. If you need anything. Leon. I stopped him at the door. Why do I feel like you're not telling me everything? He went very still. When he turned back, his face was a mask. Because you're smart, he said quietly. And you've always been able to read people better than anyone I know. Even with your memories gone, that hasn't changed. So you are lying. If I couldn't trust my own memory, I could at least trust that. My instinct for the way people shifted when they lied. The way their eyes caught on the wrong detail. I'm protecting you, his voice dropped. And I heard something dangerous underneath. Someone tried to kill you. Nora. Deliberately forced you off the road. And until I know who and why, I'm going to keep certain things simplified. For your safety. Ice slid down my spine. Someone tried to kill me. On purpose. Yes. Why? That's what I'm going to find out. He moved back to my bedside. And this time when he took my hand, I felt the leashed violence in him. The cold promise of retribution. But I promise you this. Whoever hurt you will pay. And you will never be unsafe again. It should have sounded protective, comforting. Instead, it sounded like I'd just become someone's most valuable possession. Like in the 4 days I'd been unconscious, Leon Romano had built a cage around me so perfect, I hadn't even seen the bars yet. I should have been terrified. Should have called for the nurse, for security, for anyone. But all I could think was that his hand was warm against mine, and I still didn't want him to let go. They released me 3 days later, and that was when I learned what Leon Romano's version of protection actually meant. This isn't my apartment, I said, as his driver pulled up to a glass and steel tower in Tribeca. That probably cost more per month than I made in a year. No, Leon agreed. He'd opened my door, was offering his hand to help me out. It's not safe for you to go back to Brooklyn right now. My mother is already upstairs. I had her things moved yesterday. I stared at him. You moved my mother without asking me. You were in the hospital. His voice was patient, reasonable, like he was explaining something to a child. And someone tried to kill you, Nora. Do you really think I was going to leave your mother alone in an apartment with locks I could pick in 30 seconds? The casual mention of his lock-picking skills should have been a red flag. Instead, I found myself focused on the other part. She agreed to this? She wants you safe. He guided me toward the entrance with a hand at my back. We both do. The lobby was all marble and modern art. A doorman nodded to Leon with the kind of respect that came from either fear or very good tips. Probably both. His gaze skipped over me entirely, landing back on Leon like he knew exactly which one of us mattered. The elevator required a key card. Leon's penthouse, apparently, took up the entire top floor. How long? I asked as we rode up. How long what? How long do you expect us to stay here? He looked at me then, something dark and possessive moving through his eyes. As long as it takes. The elevator opened directly into his apartment, because of course it did, and I stepped into a space that could have been featured in Architectural Digest. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Furniture that was somehow both expensive and comfortable. A kitchen with appliances I didn't recognize. And my mother sitting on the couch with a cup of tea, looking small and tired and afraid. Mom, I crossed to her, and she stood to hug me. I felt how fragile she was, how scared. Are you okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. Leon has been very generous. It all happened so quickly, she admitted, fingers tightening around the mug. 1 minute I was in our kitchen, the next his men were packing boxes and changing the locks. Generous, the word felt wrong. Can I talk to you? I asked. Alone? Leon's voice came from behind me. I'll give you some privacy. Your room is down the hall, second door on the left. I had some clothes brought in for you. Your size should be right, but if anything doesn't fit, let me know. He disappeared into what I assumed was his office, and I pulled my mother back down onto the couch. Mom, what the hell is going on? She wouldn't meet my eyes. What do you mean? I wake up with no memory. There's a stranger claiming to be my fiancé, and now we're living in his penthouse like prisoners. We're not prisoners, but her voice shook. He's protecting us. From what? From whoever tried to kill you. She grabbed my hands. Nora, you have to trust him. I know this is confusing. I know you don't remember, but Leon he's kept us safe, and he cares about you. I've seen it. In 4 days? You've decided to trust him in 4 days. I've seen how he looks at you. She squeezed my hands tighter, like you're the only thing in the world that matters to him. And right now, with someone out there who wants to hurt you, maybe that's exactly what we need. I studied her face, the lines of exhaustion, the fear in her eyes, but something else too. Something that looked almost like relief. What did he tell you? I asked quietly. While I was unconscious, what did he say to make you go along with this? The truth. Her voice dropped to a whisper. That you're in danger, that the people who tried to kill you will try again, and that he has the resources to keep you safe in ways the police never could. He put his card down for everything the insurance wouldn't cover. Your scans, the private room, even my meds when I forgot my pills that first night. Nora, when you're watching your child hooked up to machines and somebody calmly takes care of every problem the hospital throws at you, you listen to him. What people, Mom? Who's trying to kill me? I don't know. But she looked away when she said it. Leon is still investigating. She was lying. Or at least not telling me everything. I could see it in the way she wouldn't hold my gaze, the way her hands trembled in mine. I want to go home, I said. We can't. I want my life back. You will. She touched my face, and I saw tears in her eyes. When it's safe, please, Nora, just trust him for now, please. There was something desperate in her voice, something that made me wonder what else Leon had said to her in those 4 days, what promises or threats he'd made. I spent the next hour exploring my new cage. The bedroom he'd set up for me was bigger than my entire Brooklyn apartment. The closet was full of clothes, in my exact size, jeans, sweaters, dresses I'd never have bought for myself, but somehow knew would fit perfectly. Like he'd been studying me, learning me. The thought should have terrified me. Instead, I found myself standing in front of the mirror in a deep green dress that hugged my curves, wondering what Leon would think when he saw me in it. Hating myself for wondering. Wanting the approval of a man I didn't remember felt like the most dangerous symptom of all. I found him in his office an hour later. He was on the phone, speaking in rapid Italian that I couldn't follow, but I caught the tone, cold, commanding, absolutely lethal. He saw me in the doorway and held up one finger, finished his conversation with a few sharp words, and ended the call. "How are you feeling?" he asked. "Like a prisoner in a very nice cell." His mouth curved slightly. "You're not a prisoner. You can leave whenever you want." "Really?" "Of course." He stood, moved around the desk toward me. "Though I'd strongly advise against it until we've neutralized the threat." "Which threat?" "You still haven't told me who's trying to kill me." "Because I don't know yet." He stopped a few feet away, close enough that I could smell his cologne, something dark and expensive. "I have people investigating the SUV, running down leads. When I know something concrete, you'll be the first to hear it." "People?" I crossed my arms. "What kind of people?" "The kind who are very good at finding things that don't want to be found." "You're not a normal businessman, are you?" Something flickered in his eyes. Approval, maybe. What gave it away? The way everyone looks at you, the way you talk. The fact that you have people who investigate attempted murders. I held his gaze. "What do you actually do, Leon?" "I run a logistics company, import-export, shipping." That's the legal answer. "It's the only answer you need right now," I laughed, sharp and bitter. "You're asking me to trust you, to live in your home, to believe we're engaged, but you won't even tell me the truth about what you do." "I'm keeping you alive," his voice went hard. "That's what I do. And everything else is details you don't need to carry." "Don't I get a choice in any of this?" "You had a choice." He stepped closer, and I hated how my pulse jumped. 4 days ago, someone tried to kill you. You can either accept my protection, or you can walk out that door and hope they don't try again. Those are your options. Some choice. It's the only one I can give you. His hand came up, and I thought he might touch my face. Instead, he gestured to the dress I was wearing. "Green suits you." Heat crawled up my neck. "You picked out these clothes." "I had them picked out, based on what I'd seen you wear before." "Before? You mean when you were following me?" A pause. Then, "Yes." The honesty was almost worse than a lie. At least a lie would have given me something to push against. "Why?" I asked. "If we were really engaged, you wouldn't need to follow me. You'd already know what I wear, what I like." "So why were you following me, Leon?" His jaw tightened. "You're doing it again." "Doing what?" "Noticing things you shouldn't. Asking questions that are too smart." He did touch me then, fingers gentle against my cheek. "It's one of the things I love most about you." My breath caught. Because he'd said love, present tense, real. And I couldn't remember if he'd ever said it before. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression went ice cold. "I need to take this. Stay inside the apartment. Don't answer the door for anyone but me or building security." "Leon." "Please, Nora." His eyes met mine, and I saw something almost like fear in them. "Just this once, don't argue. Stay inside." Then he was gone, the elevator doors closing behind him with a whisper of expensive machinery. I stood there for a long moment, my cheeks still warm from his touch. Then I pulled out my phone, the new one Leon had given me, since apparently mine had been destroyed in the crash, and called the bookstore. Mr. Castellano answered on the third ring. "Nora, thank God, how are you feeling?" "I'm okay. I'm so sorry I haven't been in touch." "Don't apologize. Your fiancé explained everything. Terrible accident. I'm just glad you're all right." Your fiancé. He'd called himself that to my boss too. How many people had Leon convinced in 4 days? "I was hoping to come in tomorrow," I said. "Just for a few hours. I know I've been out, but..." "Actually, your fiancé already discussed this with me. He's been very generous, Nora. Offered to cover your salary for the next month while you recover, and he's hired a temporary manager to fill in." My stomach dropped. "He what?" "I thought you knew. He said you were worried about the money, about me having to manage alone. This way, you can focus on getting better." "Right," my voice sounded hollow. "Of course. Thank you, Mr. Castellano." My grip on the phone tightened until my fingers ached. I hadn't agreed to any of this. He'd gone around me, rewritten my life while I was unconscious. I ended the call and stared at my phone. Leon had cut off my job. my purpose. The one thing that had felt real and mine in all of this. He'd locked me in a golden cage and removed every reason I might have to leave. I should have been furious, should have packed my things, or the things he'd bought for me, and walked out. Instead, I found myself in his office, looking for answers. The desk was locked, but the bookshelf wasn't. I ran my fingers along the spines, looking for anything personal. Found a photo frame turned face down on the third shelf. I picked it up. The photo showed a young woman, maybe early 20s, with dark hair and Leon's eyes. She was laughing at something off camera, caught in a moment of pure joy. Written on the back in neat script, Isabella, before. Before what? Find what you were looking for? I spun. Leon stood in the doorway, perfectly still, his eyes tracked from me to the photo in my hands. I'm sorry, I said. I shouldn't have. It's fine, but his voice was tight. That's my sister. Is? Was. He crossed to me, took the photo gently from my hands. She died 3 years ago. Leon, I'm so sorry. She was killed. His thumb traced the edge of the frame. Because someone wanted to hurt me, used her to get to me, and I couldn't stop it. The pieces clicked into place. The obsessive protection, the cage, the fear I'd seen in his eyes earlier. That's why you're so afraid for me, I whispered. I'm not afraid. But his hands shook as he set the photo down. I just won't let it happen again. He looked at me then, and the raw pain in his face stole my breath. You think I'm lying to you, he said quietly. And you're right, I am, but not about everything, not about... His phone rang. He answered it, listened for 10 seconds, and his entire body went rigid. When? A pause. How many? Another pause, and I saw murder in his eyes. Get everyone to secondary positions. Full lockdown. I'm on my way. He ended the call and looked at me. We need to go. Now. What's happening? They found us. He grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the door. They're coming for you, and we have maybe 10 minutes before they breach the building. They'll have someone on the inside, he said. No one hits a place like this from the sidewalk. My heart stopped. Who's coming? The people who tried to kill you the first time. He hit the elevator button, already pulling out his phone to make another call. And this time, they're not planning to leave witnesses. The elevator was too slow. Leon kept his hand on my arm, his other hand on his phone, firing off instructions in clipped Italian. I caught words that sounded like positions, weapons, exits. My mother, already secured. 2 of my men are with her in the panic room. The elevator doors opened into the parking garage. A black car was already running, driver's side door open. Get in the back. Stay low. I slid in. Leon followed, and the car was moving before his door even closed. The driver, a man with cold eyes and a gun visible in a shoulder holster, took the corners too fast. Where are we going? I asked. Somewhere they won't look. Leon pulled out his phone again. Marco, status? A voice crackled over the speaker. 3 vehicles spotted 2 blocks out. 6 men, maybe more. They're not trying to be subtle. Good. Leon's smile was terrifying. That means they're desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. What do they want with me? My voice came out steadier than I felt. I manage a bookstore. I'm nobody. Leon looked at me, and something shifted in his expression. A decision being made. You're not nobody, he said quietly. The rear window exploded. Leon slammed me down against the seat, his body covering mine as bullets punched through metal and glass. The driver swerved hard, clipped something with a scream of tearing metal. Hold on, the driver shouted. We took a corner that felt like flying. More gunfire. Leon's weight pressed me into the leather, one hand cradling my head, the other reaching for something under his jacket. He came up with a gun. Stay down, he said. And then he was twisting, returning fire through the shattered window with a calm that said he'd done this 1,000 times before. The bookstore manager I'd been, the woman who counted register receipts and read to children on Thursday afternoons, would have been screaming. But something in me was sharper now, clearer. I noticed the angle of the attack, the way they were hurting us, not just chasing. They're pushing us east, I said. Leon fired twice more, dropped back down. What? The shots. They're only hitting the left side. They're not trying to stop us. They're directing us. I raised my head just enough to see out the cracked windshield. There's a construction zone 3 blocks east. Dead end. They box us in there. They don't need to aim, I said. They just have to wait. Leon stared at me for half a second. Then he leaned forward. Marco, cut south on the next street. Now. The driver obeyed. We took the turn so hard I slammed against Leon's chest. More gunfire followed us, but the angle was wrong now, frantic. They weren't expecting that, I said. No. Leon's eyes were on me, dark and intense. They weren't. How did you know? I pay attention. My heart was hammering, but my mind felt strangely calm, clear. You said I was good at noticing things. You are. His hand came up, thumb brushing my cheekbone where broken glass had cut me. You're extraordinary. The car skidded into an underground parking structure. Leon's phone was already at his ear. We're at the secondary location. Send the team. Full sweep before we move again. He listened, then. Good. Keep her there until I say otherwise. He meant my mother. Safe in whatever panic room he'd built. How long had he been planning for this? How many contingencies did he have in place? Out, Leon ordered. Fast. We ran through the parking garage to a service elevator. Leon had a key for this one too. We rode up in silence, his gun still in his hand, his eyes on the doors like he expected them to open on an army. Instead, they opened on a bare hallway. Concrete walls, industrial lighting. Leon led me to a door that looked like all the others, used 3 different keys to open it. Inside was a small apartment. Safe house, I realized. Sparse furniture, reinforced windows, and at least 4 different exit routes I could spot immediately. You'll be safe here, Leon said. It's off-grid. No one knows about it except my inner circle. Your inner circle, I turned to face him. The same inner circle that let those men find your penthouse. His jaw tightened. What are you saying? I'm saying someone told them where we were. I crossed my arms, riding the adrenaline that still sang through my veins. You said yourself they found us. How? I don't know yet. But you suspect someone. I suspect everyone. His eyes were hard, cold. That's how you stay alive in my world. Your world, I laughed, sharp and bitter. You keep saying that. Your world, your people, your protection. But you won't tell me what any of it actually means. Nora. No. I stepped toward him. I just got shot at. I figured out their ambush strategy while you were firing back like this is a normal Tuesday for you. I think I deserve the truth now, don't you? He stared at me for a long moment. Then he set his gun on the table, ran a hand through his hair. You want the truth? His voice was dangerous, quiet. Fine. I run the Romano organization. Logistics and shipping, yes, but also protection, enforcement, territory management. Most people call it the Mafia, though we prefer to think of it as a family business. The words should have shocked me, should have sent me running. Instead, I just nodded. I know. His eyes snapped to mine. You know? I suspected. The way people look at you. The guns, the safe houses. The fact that you can make entire buildings lock down with a phone call and never once have to raise your voice. I held his gaze. What I don't know is what any of this has to do with me. Why they want me dead. Leon's hands curled into fists. Because of who your father is. The room tilted. My father is dead, I said automatically. He died before I was born. My mother told me. Your mother lied. His voice was gentle now, almost kind. Your father is very much alive. His name is Domenico Vieri, and he runs one of the most powerful crime families on the East Coast. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think past the roaring in my ears. That's not possible. It's true. Leon moved closer, careful, like approaching a wounded animal. Your mother left him before you were born. Changed her name, changed yours, disappeared into Brooklyn where he'd never think to look. She's been hiding you for 27 years. He looked for a while, Leon said, quietly. The more noise he made, the more he risked putting a target on you both. Eventually, he did the only thing he could do for you. He stopped hunting his own child so his enemies wouldn't know you existed at all. He laughed once, without humor. It worked. For 2 decades, nobody knew where you were. Not Vieri, not his enemies. Why? The word came out broken. Because she was afraid. Of him, of his world, of what it would do to you. His hand reached for mine, and I let him take it. Needed the anchor. She wanted you to be normal, safe. But I'm not safe. My laugh was hysterical. Someone tried to kill me. Not someone. The Rutigliano family. Leon's grip tightened. They're rivals of both Vieri and Romano. If they can kill you, Vieri's only child, they gain leverage. Force him into their terms or break him completely. I pulled my hand away. You said you were following me. That night. You said you were worried that we'd fought. I lied. Why were you really following me, Leon? My voice shook. Why were you watching me for months? How did you even know who I was when my own father didn't? His silence was answer enough. You knew, I whispered. You knew who I was. That's why you were there that night. That's why you saved me. Yes. Were you planning to kill me? I had to ask. Had to know. Use me against my father? No. He moved fast, hands framing my face, forcing me to look at him. Never. I was watching you because... He stopped, something raw and desperate in his eyes. Because I needed to understand who you were before I decided what to do with the information. And what did you decide? That I couldn't let anything happen to you. His thumb traced my cheekbone, and I saw the truth in his face. The engagement is a lie, but this, what I feel when I look at you, that's real. It's been real since the first time I saw you in that bookstore, defending a customer from some asshole who thought he could intimidate a woman half his size. You were magnificent. I should have slapped him, should have screamed, should have run. Instead, I kissed him. It was anger and fear and adrenaline and need all crashing together. My hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, and he made a sound low in his throat that might have been surrender. His arms came around me, one hand sliding into my hair, the other pressing against the small of my back. The kiss was rough, desperate, nothing gentle about it. Like we were both drowning, and each other was air. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. That was a mistake, I whispered. Probably. His forehead rested against mine. But I've wanted to do it since you woke up in that hospital bed and looked at me like you could see straight through to my bones. I still can. I pulled back, putting space between us even though every cell in my body screamed to close the distance again. And I see someone who's been lying to me from the beginning. Someone who's using me, whether you admit it or not. I'm protecting you. You're controlling me. My voice broke. You moved my mother, took away my job, locked me in your apartment. You didn't ask, didn't give me choices. You just decided what was best and expected me to be grateful. I kept you alive. But whose life am I living? I backed toward the door. Yours? My father's? Because it sure as hell doesn't feel like mine. His phone rang. He ignored it. Nora. I need some space. I found the bedroom, locked myself inside before he could follow. I heard him on the other side of the door. Heard the moment he gave up and walked away, already answering whatever call had come through. I sank onto the bed and let myself shake. My father was alive, a mafia boss, a criminal. My mother had lied to me for 27 years. And Leon, the man I'd just kissed like my life depended on it, had been watching me, studying me, building a cage around me since before we'd ever officially met. I pulled out my phone, stared at it for a long moment. Then I made a decision. It took me 20 minutes to sift through articles and shell companies until I found a direct line buried under one of Domenico Vieri's legitimate offices. Another 10 to work up the courage to dial. A man answered on the second ring. His voice was rough, accented. Who is this? My name is Nora Hale, I said. I think you might be my father. Silence. Then, Nora. Dio. I've been looking for you for 27 years. Well, my voice shook. You found me. Where are you? The urgency in his voice was palpable. Are you safe? The Rutigliano family? I know about them, and I know about you. I took a breath. I know about all of it. And I need to meet you, alone. Alone? He sounded wary now. Where is Romano? How do you know about Leon? I know he has you. I know he's been lying to you. Anger crept into his voice. That bastard told everyone you were his fiancé. Used you as a shield against both me and Rutiliano. Then help me, I said. Meet me. Tell me the truth. All of it. Another pause. When? Tomorrow, noon. Public place. Bryant Park. I heard Leon's voice in the other room, giving orders. Come alone. If I see guards, I walk. Nora, that's not safe. Nothing about my life is safe anymore. I closed my eyes. Noon tomorrow. Yes or no? Yes. His voice was thick. Yes, I'll be there. I was inviting one devil into the same city as another and standing right between them. I ended the call and deleted it from the log. Then I unlocked the bedroom door. Leon was in the main room, city lights casting shadows across his face. He looked up when I entered. Are you okay? No, I crossed to him. But I need to know, if I asked you to let me go, would you? His eyes searched mine. Where would you go? Does it matter? It does if you're walking into danger. Everything is danger now. I held his gaze. Would you let me go? He was quiet for so long, I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, no, I'd follow you. Keep you safe whether you wanted me to or not. That's what I thought. I nodded slowly. Then I guess we understand each other. Do we? You're a liar and a criminal who's been manipulating me since before we met. I stepped closer and I saw his breath catch. And I'm the daughter of your enemy who just figured out how to stop being a pawn. His eyes darkened. And how's that? I smiled. Sharp and dangerous. By learning to play the game. I slipped out at 11:30 while Leon was on a call with his security team, coordinating sweeps of the building perimeter. He'd been on the phone for an hour, his back to the bedroom where I'd pretended to sleep. I'd watched him through the cracked door, seen the tension in his shoulders, the way he kept glancing toward the bedroom like he was afraid I'd disappear. He was right to be afraid. Every place he took me, I counted exits. By the time we got to the safe house, I'd already clocked 4. I'd memorized them all within 10 minutes of arriving. Leon had taught me that without meaning to. Always notice the exits, always have a plan. I took the service stairs down to the street level, pulled up my hood, and walked 3 blocks before hailing a cab. My phone was off, tucked in my pocket. Leon would realize I was gone within minutes, but by then I'd be halfway to Bryant Park. The morning was cold, gray, the kind of November day that made the city feel sharper, more dangerous. I kept my head down, watched reflections in windows for anyone following. Leon had taught me that too. Bryant Park was crowded despite the cold. Tourists, office workers on lunch breaks, vendors selling coffee and roasted nuts. I found a bench with clear sightlines in 3 directions and waited. Domenico Vieri arrived at 12:03. I knew him instantly. He had my eyes, the same gray-green that stared back at me from mirrors. His hair was silver at the temples, his suit expensive but understated. He moved like Leon did, with that careful control that said violence was always an option. He sat down beside me, keeping 2 feet of space between us. Nora! His voice was rough with emotion. You look like your mother. Did you love her? I didn't know why that was the first question, but it was. Yes. No hesitation. More than anything, which is why I let her go when she asked. She said you were dead. I know. He stared straight ahead, not looking at me. It was easier than explaining why I couldn't be in your life, why loving me put you both in danger. Leon told me about the Rutigliano family, about why they want me dead. Romano, his jaw tightened. That bastard has been using you. I know what he's been doing. I cut him off. What I don't know is what you've been doing, where you've been, why you never came for us if you loved my mother so much. He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy. He looked for a while, Leon had said last night, his words coming back to me now. Quietly, the more noise he made, the more he risked putting a target on you both. Eventually, he did the only thing he could do for you. He stopped hunting his own child so his enemies wouldn't know you existed at all. It worked. For 2 decades, nobody knew where you were. Not Vieri, not his enemies. Is that true? I asked. You stopped looking for me to keep me safe. Domenico turned to look at me then, and I saw pain carved deep in his face. Every instinct I had screamed to find you, to know you, but every move I made, every resource I used, it left traces, patterns, and in my world, patterns get people killed. So you just gave up? I gave you a chance, his voice broke. A chance to be normal, to have the life your mother wanted for you, away from this world, away from the violence and the blood and the constant threat. He laughed once, without humor. And then Romano found you anyway, led them right to you with his obsession. That's not fair, isn't it? Domenico's eyes were hard now. He's been watching you for months, Nora, playing some game in his head where you're a piece on his board. The Rutigliano family has informants everywhere. You think they didn't notice Romano's sudden interest in a Brooklyn bookstore manager? The words hit like a punch, because he was right. Leon's surveillance, his protection, it had painted a target on me just as surely as Domenico's search would have. Why now, I asked. If you stayed away for 27 years, why did the Rutigliano family suddenly figure it out? I don't know. Frustration bled through his voice. I've been trying to find the leak, someone in my organization, or Romano's, or… He stopped. There's another possibility. What? That your mother told someone, a friend, a doctor, a priest, someone she trusted who turned out not to be trustworthy. My stomach dropped. My mother's anxiety, her fear, her insistence that I trust Leon. What if she'd confided in someone years ago and it had finally come back to destroy us? I need to ask you something, I said, and I need the truth. Anything. If you had to choose between destroying the Rutigliano family and keeping me safe, which would you choose? He didn't hesitate. You, always. Even if it meant giving up power, territory, revenge. Even then, he looked at me and I saw something I recognized. The same desperate protectiveness I'd seen in Leon's eyes. You're my daughter, my blood. There's nothing in this world worth losing you. Then prove it. I pulled out my phone, turned it on. Within seconds, it started buzzing with missed calls and texts, all from Leon. I ignored them. Help me end this, not by hiding me, not by making choices for me, by working with me. What are you thinking? I'm thinking the Rutigliano family wants me as leverage. They think I'm a weakness. I met my father's eyes. Let's show them they're wrong. A slow smile spread across his face, dangerous and proud. You have a plan. The beginning of one. My phone buzzed again. Leon. But I'm going to need both of you to make it work. Romano will never agree to work with me. He will if the alternative is me dying. I stood. I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Domenico stood too, and for a moment I thought he might argue. Then he nodded. You're more like your mother than I thought. She was the bravest person I ever knew. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a card. My private number, call me when you're ready. I took the card, slipped it into my pocket. One more thing. When this is over, when it's safe, I want to know her. The woman you fell in love with. Not the frightened mother who lied to me, but the woman she was before all of this. His eyes went bright. I'd like that. I turned to leave, and his voice stopped me. Nora, be careful with Romano. Men like us, we don't know how to love without consuming. Without controlling, don't let him cage you. I won't, I promised. But I was already wondering if it was too late. Leon found me 2 blocks from the park. His car pulled up alongside me, door opening before it even stopped moving. Get in. His voice was ice. I got in. The door slammed. We pulled into traffic. Leon stared straight ahead, jaw tight, hands clenched. You met with him, he said finally. Yes. You could have been killed. The Rutigliano family isn't stupid enough to make a move in a crowded public park in the middle of the day. I turned to face him. I'm not helpless, Leon. Stop treating me like I am. You left without telling me, without protection. Without permission, you mean? His eyes snapped to mine, dark and furious. You think this is about permission? About control? I've had 3 separate teams searching for you for the past hour. I thought… His voice cracked. I thought they'd taken you. The fear in his voice disarmed me. I'm sorry, I should have left a note. A note? He laughed, bitter. You should have trusted me. With what? My father's phone number? You would have stopped me. Yes, no hesitation. Because it was reckless and dangerous and necessary, I held his gaze. I needed to meet him, to know if what you told me was true, to make my own judgment. And he's not a monster. I thought of Domenico's eyes, the pain in them. He's a man who made an impossible choice, just like you. Leon's jaw worked. What did you tell him? That I have a plan to end this, that I need both of you to make it work. I pulled out Domenico's card. I'm setting up a meeting, tonight, neutral ground. Absolutely not. It's not a request. My voice went hard. You don't get to make decisions for me anymore, Leon. Not about my safety, not about my father, not about anything. If you want to help me, you'll be there. If you want to control me, you can drop me off at the nearest police station and I'll take my chances. You know I can't let you do that. Then you're going to have to learn to work with me instead of around me. I leaned closer. I spotted the ambush yesterday. I figured out Domenico's number from your contacts while you thought I was sleeping. I got out of a safe house you designed to be escape-proof. I'm not the fragile thing you're trying to protect. I'm the weapon you didn't know you had. Something shifted in his expression, anger fading into something darker, hungrier. You went through my phone. You've been watching me for months. I think we're even. We're not even close to even. His hand came up, fingers threading through my hair. But you're right about one thing. What's that? You're not fragile. His eyes burned into mine. You're the most dangerous thing that's ever happened to me. Then he kissed me. This time, there was nothing desperate about it. It was deliberate, consuming, a promise and a threat all at once. His hand tightened in my hair, tilted my head back so he could deepen the kiss, and I opened for him without hesitation. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Tonight, I whispered against his mouth. The meeting. You'll be there? I'll be there. His thumb traced my bottom lip. But Nora, if this goes wrong, if you're in danger for even a second, then I trust you to get me out. I pulled back, straightened my jacket. But it won't go wrong. Because for the first time since I woke up in that hospital, I'm the one making the choices. The meeting was set for 8 p.m. in a private room at a restaurant neither family controlled. Neutral ground, metal detectors at the door, maximum 3 people per side. I brought Leon and his second-in-command, a cold-eyed woman named Sophia who looked like she could kill someone with a salad fork. Domenico brought 2 men who looked like they'd stepped out of a Scorsese film. We sat across from each other at a long table. The tension was thick enough to cut. This is insane, Domenico said, but he was looking at me with something like respect. This is strategic. I laid out the map I'd drawn. The Rutigliano family wants me as leverage. They think killing me will break you or force you into terms. But what if we give them what they want? Leon's voice was deadly quiet. Explain. We let them think they've found me. Set up a location. Leak it through whatever channels they're monitoring. I pointed to a mark on the map. Here, the old customs house on the waterfront. Lots of exits, lots of sight lines. You want to use yourself as bait. Domenico's face was pale. I want to use myself as strategy. I met his eyes. They come for me, and they find both your families waiting. Not fighting each other, fighting them. You take their leadership off the board in one move, together. The Rutigliano family fractures, and you two negotiate new terms after. But there's one condition, I said. No killing. You don't get to use me as the excuse to put a bullet in someone's head. Exile him, ruin him, lock him away somewhere he can't hurt anyone. I don't care how you do it. But no executions because of me. She's right, Sophia said quietly. It could work. No. Leon's voice was steel. Absolutely not. We're not dangling her in front of killers like leverage, I interrupted. Like a pawn? That's what I've been this entire time, Leon. At least this way, I choose it. You could die. I could die in this restaurant. I could die walking back to your car. I could die in my sleep. I held his gaze. At least this way, I take them down with me. Domenico was quiet for a long moment. Then, what do you need from me? I need you to trust me. I looked between them. Both of you. Can you do that? Leon's hands were fists on the table. I saw the war in his eyes, the need to protect me versus the knowledge that I was right. Finally, he nodded. Once. Sharp. We do this my way, he said. My team handles security. My people vet the location. And if anything goes wrong, I'm pulling you out. Agreed. I turned to Domenico. Can you leak the location through your channels? Make it look accidental? I can do better than that. A dark smile crossed his face. I can make them think they're betraying you, that you're running from Romano, coming to me for protection. They'll be so focused on the opportunity, they won't see the trap. When? Sophia asked. Tomorrow night. I looked at Leon. We don't give them time to plan. We hit them while they're scrambling. Tomorrow? Leon's voice was hollow. You're asking me to put you in the crosshairs in 24 hours. I'm asking you to trust me. I reached across the table, took his hand. I'm asking you to let me be your partner, not your possession. His fingers tightened around mine. If anything happens to you, then you'll burn the world down. I know. I smiled, sharp and sure. But nothing's going to happen to me, because I'm going to have the two most dangerous men on the East Coast watching my back. Domenico laughed, surprised and genuine. She really is my daughter. Leon didn't laugh, but slowly, painfully, he nodded. Tomorrow night, he said, but we're doing a full run-through, 3 times. Every possible scenario. Deal. The meeting broke up an hour later, plans made, positions assigned, contingencies mapped. I watched my father leave, saw the way he looked back at me, proud and terrified, and already grieving the daughter he might lose again. In the car, Leon was silent. Say it, I told him. Say what? Whatever you're thinking. You've been quiet since we left. He stared out the window. I'm thinking that I've never been more afraid in my entire life, and I've been shot 4 times. I'm not going to die tomorrow. You don't know that. No. I reached for his hand. But I know I can't live like this. Always running, always hiding, always letting other people make choices about my life. I squeezed his fingers. You said I was extraordinary. Let me prove it. He turned to look at me then, and the raw emotion in his face stole my breath. I love you, he said. I know I have no right to. I know I've lied and manipulated and controlled. But I love you and the thought of losing you tomorrow. You won't. I leaned across the console, kissed him softly. Because I love you too, even though you're a lying criminal who kidnapped me and faked an engagement. I prefer the term aggressively protective. I laughed despite everything. Of course you do. His hand cupped my face. After tomorrow, if we survive this, I want to do this right. No lies, no manipulation, just us. Us, I agreed. Partners. Partners, he echoed. Then quieter. Though I reserve the right to be occasionally overprotective. I'll allow it. I kissed him again. Occasionally. The customs house loomed against the night sky, all broken windows and rusted metal. Leon's team had swept it 3 times, set up positions, established sightlines. Sophia was on the roof with a rifle. 2 more teams flanked the building. Domenico's people were scattered throughout the warehouse district, ready to close in from behind. And I was in the center of it all, standing in a circle of light from a single overhead lamp, waiting. The wire under my shirt itched. Leon had insisted on it. If things went wrong, he'd hear everything. Movement, Sophia's voice crackled in my earpiece. 3 vehicles. 8 men visible, probably more. Copy, Leon said. He was somewhere in the shadows behind me, close enough to pull me out, far enough that I looked alone. Nora, you remember the signal. If I touch my left ear, you come in hard, I said. Full team, no hesitation. The doors crashed open. Salvatore Rutigliano walked in like he owned the place, flanked by 4 men with guns. He was older than I'd expected, silver-haired and well-dressed, with eyes like a shark. Nora Vieri, he said, my father's name sounding wrong in his mouth. Finally. Mr. Rutigliano. I kept my hands visible, my stance loose. Thank you for coming, he laughed. Thank you? Sweetheart, you're not in a position to be polite. Aren't I? I tilted my head. I'm the one who called this meeting. I'm the one who decided it was time to stop running. You think you decided? He moved closer, and I forced myself not to step back. You think Romano letting you out of his sight was your choice? He's using you, little girl, just like your father used your mother. Maybe, I shrugged. Or maybe I'm using him. That got his attention. Explain. You want leverage over my father. I want freedom from both of them. I let desperation creep into my voice. Help me disappear, really disappear, and I'll give you everything you need to destroy Domenico Vieri. Everything. He was close enough now that I could smell his cologne. What could you possibly have? Account numbers, property deeds, the location of his offshore holdings. I pulled a flash drive from my pocket. Everything my mother took when she left him. Insurance, she called it. It was a lie, of course. The drive was empty. But Rutigliano's eyes went bright with greed. Why should I believe you? Because I'm terrified and desperate and I want out. I let my voice shake. Because Leon Romano scares me more than you do. Because my father is a stranger and my mother lied to me my entire life. Because I'm done being a pawn. Rutigliano smiled, slow and cruel. You know what I think? I think you're very clever. I think this is a trap. My heart stopped. It's not, but I don't care. He pulled out a gun, pressed it to my temple. Because even if it is, I've got you now. And that's all the leverage I need. Now, I whispered. The lights exploded. Gunfire erupted from 3 directions at once. Sophia's rifle sang from the roof. Leon's team poured in from the sides. Domenico's men crashed through the back entrance. Rutigliano's grip tightened on me, but I'd been ready. I dropped, twisted, drove my elbow into his stomach exactly the way Leon had taught me in our 3 practice runs. He staggered back. Leon was there in half a heartbeat, gun to Rutigliano's head. Move and you're finished, Leon said, his voice empty of everything but promise. Around us, the fight was already over. Rutigliano's men were on the ground, disarmed, surrounded. Sophia dropped down from her perch, covered in shadows and satisfaction. Domenico walked through the smoke, and I saw my father's face fully for the first time in real danger. Cold, merciless, absolutely terrifying. Salvatore, he smiled, and it was worse than any threat. I believe you've met my daughter. Rutigliano looked between us, between the 2 most powerful crime families on the East Coast, united for the first time in decades. United for me. This isn't over, he spat. Yes, I said quietly. It is. Domenico made a gesture. His men moved forward, pulled Rutigliano to his feet. What are you going to do with him? I asked. Nothing permanent. Domenico's eyes met mine. You said no killing, so we'll make him disappear instead. Ship him somewhere far away where he can't hurt anyone anymore. Exile, Leon clarified. And every asset he has gets divided between our families and the charities that clean up the messes men like him leave behind. I nodded slowly. It wasn't perfect, but it was justice without murder, and maybe that was enough. Sophia and the teams cleared out, taking Rutigliano's men with them. Domenico approached slowly, like I was something fragile. You were magnificent, he said. I was terrified. So was I. He reached out, hesitated, then pulled me into a brief, careful hug. Thank you for trusting me, for letting me be part of this. Thank you for stopping, I pulled back. For giving me the chance to be normal, even if it didn't work. Your mother would be proud, his voice was thick. Can I see her, talk to her? I think she'd like that, I smiled. But maybe give her a few days to process that I almost died. Again. He laughed, sad and fond. And then his men were there, ready to go. He kissed my forehead once, quick and gentle, and disappeared into the night, leaving me alone with Leon. He hadn't put his gun away yet. His eyes were still hard, scanning for threats that were no longer there. Leon, I touched his arm. It's over. I almost lost you. His voice was raw. When he put that gun to your head, but you didn't. I took the gun from his hand, set it aside, pulled him toward me. I'm right here. His arms came around me, crushing me against his chest. I felt him shaking. Never again, he whispered into my hair. Never again, Nora. I can't. I know. I held him just as tightly. But this is who I am now. Not the bookstore manager who counted receipts. Not the frightened woman in the hospital bed. This. He pulled back enough to look at me. Partners? Partners, I smiled. Though I reserve the right to occasionally do dangerous things that terrify you. I'll allow it. His mouth curved slightly, occasionally. I kissed him then, there in the ruins of the customs house, surrounded by broken glass and the smell of gunpowder. Kissed him like we had all the time in the world now, like we'd earned it. When we broke apart, his forehead rested against mine. Come home with me, he said. Where's home? Wherever you are. His hand cupped my face. I'll sell the penthouse. We'll find something together, something you choose. I like the penthouse, I grinned. But I'm redecorating, and I'm keeping the bookstore. Done. He kissed me again, soft and sure. Anything you want. I want a life. I looked up at him. A real one. With you, with my father in it, with my mother safe. I want to stop running and start living. Then that's what we'll build. His thumb traced my cheekbone. Together. Together, I agreed. 3 months later, I stood in the bookstore at closing time, counting the register while Leon pretended to browse the poetry section. You're not subtle, I called over. I'm not trying to be. He pulled a book off the shelf, brought it to the counter. I was thinking about that night, when we met. We didn't meet here, no, but this is where I first saw you. He leaned on the counter, eyes warm. You were helping a kid find something for his book report. You made 3 recommendations in 2 minutes, and they were all perfect. You remember that? I remember everything about you. He reached across, took my hand. I remember thinking I'd never seen anyone look so perfectly at home. Like you'd built this place with your own hands. I'm trying to. I gestured to the plans spread across the counter. Mr. Castellano agreed to sell. The paperwork goes through next month. You're buying the store, pride colored his voice. With legitimate money, I raised an eyebrow. Money I'm earning, not money you're giving me. I would never. He pressed a hand to his chest in mock offense. Though I did mention to a few friends that the best bookstore in Brooklyn was under new ownership. If your sales have gone up, that's purely coincidental. Leon. What? I can't recommend a good business? I laughed, shook my head. You're impossible. I'm yours. He came around the counter, pulled me close. Speaking of which, your mother wants to know if we're coming to dinner on Sunday. She and Domenico are making pasta. It still felt strange, hearing my parents' names in the same sentence. The last Sunday dinner had turned into a 20-minute argument over sauce. You always put too much basil, my mother had scolded, standing over the pot like a general over a battle map. And you never put enough, Domenico had shot back, waving a wooden spoon. For 27 years, I ate other people's terrible sauce and thought of yours. You thought of mine and still refused to learn to cook it properly, she'd muttered. Then teach me, he'd said, too quietly for him, to be posturing. If you'll have the patience. She'd gone silent at that. Then she'd shoved the spoon into his hand. Stir, and don't you dare let it stick. Watching them, awkward and prickly and trying, I'd felt something in my chest unclench. They weren't a love story magically fixed. They were 2 people who'd broken and were stubborn enough to see if anything worth saving was left. Slowly, carefully, they were building something new from the ashes of what they'd lost. Just like Leon and I were. We'll be there, I said. But tell my father I'm not mediating if they argue about the sauce again. Noted. His lips brushed my forehead. Ready to go home? Almost. I locked the register, turned off the main lights. The store looked different in the shadows. Older, softer, more mine. Leon. Yeah? Thank you. I turned to face him. For everything. For saving me. For lying to me. For teaching me how to fight back. For letting me choose this life instead of forcing it on me. You're thanking me for lying to you? I'm thanking you for stopping. I kissed him softly. For becoming someone who asks instead of orders. Who protects instead of controls. I'm still working on it, he admitted. So am I. I smiled against his mouth. We'll work on it together. We left through the back door, Leon's hand warm in mine. The city stretched out around us, dangerous and beautiful and ours. I'd started as a woman who counted pennies and dreamed small dreams. I'd woken up in a nightmare with no memory and a stranger's hand on my wrist. And I'd turned it all into this. A life I'd chosen. A love I'd fought for. A family I'd claimed. I was Nora Hale and Nora Vieri. Bookstore owner and Mafia daughter. Victim and survivor and something fiercer than both. I was no longer invisible. I was no longer powerless. I was finally, completely, dangerously free. And I'd never felt more like myself in my entire life. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe so you don't miss the next Mafia love story. And tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what you thought of this narrator. Your feedback really helps me make these even better for you. Thank you for letting my stories keep you company. It truly means more than you know.